Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Highruler, and today's video is going over the February development update from Marvel's Avengers. Now, of course guys, this isn't the roadmap. Of course, this is not the Marvel's Avengers 2022 roadmap, so I know there's going to be a little bit of disappointment here, but I'm really excited for them to kind of communicate what exactly they've been working on and kind of what their plans are, because I do believe, based off my conversations, there is some good things coming in the pipeline for Marvel's Avengers, and this is just kind of the start. But with that being said, let me save my thoughts for the end, and let's kind of break down what they're sharing today. So it starts off by saying, hey everyone, we know many of you have been eagerly awaiting our next formal roadmap from Marvel's Avengers. We aren't yet ready to reveal the next full roadmap, but we can share some news about our next update and how we're improving and changing the game in the near and medium term. In Marvel's Avengers, core game systems must evolve with the player base and as we learn more about how players play. A number of systems built at launch haven't grown and aren't sufficiently delivering the most fun superhero team experience. We addressed some of this in our last patch with the addition of shipments, a reworking of the gear upgrading system, a streamlined resource economy, and other changes. More of this type of work, like a refresh of rewards for events like Red Room Takeover and Corrupted Vibranium, is ongoing and is a substantial part of our near-term development plan. Now, they only highlighted Red Room Takeover and the Corrupted Vibranium event, guys, so I do believe that those would be the only two moving forward through this year once kind of the 2022 content starts, and then ideally they have a couple new events as well. So if these rewards are really good and maybe kind of entices people to go back to them, I don't mind those two events coming back, but I definitely do believe that on top of that, they need some new ones as well, but that would probably be a part of the roadmap. To give some specific examples, let's take a sneak peek at patch 2.3, which is currently planned to release in March, and a sample of the changes it will bring, as well as some elements in progress for release shortly afterwards. First, Nick Fury is returning to lead S.H.I.E.L.D. and coordinate future Avenger Initiative missions alongside Director Hill. Now, this is going to be really interesting, guys. I know this is going to be one of the ones that people are going to kind of hone in on, right? Nick Fury is back. How did we come back? How did we get here? And I know there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding that, so it'll be really interesting to see what kind of answers we get, if any answers, and kind of what is happening with Nick Fury. I know a lot of the, I don't want to say fantasy of it, but maybe fantasy is a good word that people have about the Avengers is Nick Fury is a part of that team. You know, he's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's the one kind of directing the Avengers sometimes. And obviously there's nothing against Maria Hill, but Nick Fury is such a powerful figure in the Marvel Universe that kind of not having him lead the Avengers in some capacity, I do believe kind of hurt people's kind of experience of kind of everything to do with the game at that point, you know, depending on the immersiveness that you wanted out of this game. Now let's move on to the next part. This comes with a much needed rework of the war table and the mission select system. We're changing how to find, select, and launch missions on the leveling journey throughout the Avengers initiative. Our primary goal is to improve the flow for new players to reduce frustration in the leveling process. The more organized and directed experience will also create larger, more concentrated matchmaking pools for higher level players. Now, this is really interesting. I remember back in November of 2020 that I talked with Joe Burrow, he's going to hate me if I mispronounce that, of Murphy's Multiverse. And one of the things that we talked about in November was that the war table is a disaster. It sucks. So the fact that now they're looking at it and going, how do we improve this? How do we make it better? To me, that is really good. That shows that they kind of understand that the war table isn't doing what they needed it to do, and they need to change that whole foundation there. So kudos to them. We're also taking the opportunity to use what we learned in the past year to further balance gear perks. We've seen some amazing builds and plan on creating an even wider variety of powerful builds to discover and play. Alongside a wider variety of builds, we'll be making gear sets earnable through a wider set of activities to give you more options to hunt for the perfect build in your way. Okay, I mean, I think we'll have to see kind of how this plays out, but I mean, obviously, you know, if they are looking at that and kind of making, you know, gains towards that, I mean, that's really good. I mean, everybody wants the chase, and it's how about you kind of entice people with that chase that'll really kind of determine the longevity of these longer term players that you're trying to get into your game. So, yeah, I mean, great words. Let's see how that kind of plays out in the near and the long term future, right? The new shipment system added in 2.2 has been really successful at providing another path to cosmetic rewards while rewarding play, but it has had a fairly major impact on our units economy. We plan to make adjustments in the next patch by adding units as additional rewards to a number of end game activities. Yeah, I mean, like, that's good because a lot of the stuff going on right now is that people just don't have enough units and they don't want to run vaults, right? So any sort of like, hey, we're going to give you guys an influx of units to kind of help you guys out, just get you guys playing the game so you can get those skins, like that's good, right? So I don't think this will be the last change they make to the units economy and where people are earning them, but hopefully it's a substantial enough jump that people do feel rewarded through units and playing these endgame modes, right? So, all right, that's good too. Last update, we experimented with allowing players to earn weekly rewards from completing the Omega level threat and the raid for each of their heroes, not just once per account. We've really liked the results of that, and we're planning to extend the per hero system to Mega Hives in the next update. That's good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like with the Mega Hives nowadays, I feel like the Hive Mind gear just hasn't kept up with where players are at or what players are looking for. I could be wrong, and if you guys are going after the Hive Mind gear in the comment section, let me know, because I just feel like the Hive Mind gear needs an update and a refresh as well for things that people want out of their gear, right? I just personally, that's how I'm feeling. But I will say the change from going that per account to per hero, that's a good one. But maybe the Hive Mind gear needs to be tweaked as well to kind of really make that enticing for players to go after on all their heroes, you know? All right, so now let's go to the last part here. Lastly, we'll continue to prioritize critical bugs like improving raid stability and player feedback on where we need to make tuning adjustments. I mean, obviously, right? Obviously. This is just a glimpse of what lies ahead. Stay tuned to our dev blogs and live streams for more info about patch 2.3, where we plan to go over the changes and details as we get closer to release. Now, all right, guys, so that's really it. I mean, there's really, the rest of it's kind of fluff, but I will say, let's get it out of the way. It's not the roadmap, right? Like, it's not the long-term vision of where Marvel's Avengers is going in 2022, but I will say, in my kind of viewpoint, in my kind of like, you know, kind of everything that I have going on here, what it seems like Crystal Dynamics are doing is that they recognize that the core foundation of the game is not great, right? Whether that's the war table, the leveling experience, the new player onboarding, and they're looking at that and saying, okay, we probably should change the foundation, or at least make tweaks to the foundation of the game so that players kind of get into the initiative and they're able to just jump in, play, have fun, and then kind of figure everything out through a good gameplay loop, right? Now, to me, this is a really good way to go about it, because if you're just stacking things on top of a shaky foundation, eventually everything falls off, right? And the whole thing just comes crashing down. What they seemingly are doing is that this first patch, 2.3, is going to kind of address a lot of these things so that the things afterwards are the things that, you know, someone like myself or maybe some of you guys want, which is that content, right? Which are those heroes. So for me, it'll be really interesting to see the full breadth of what 2.3 is going to offer, because I imagine this, you know, is pretty much all of it at a high level. But when we start to break it down, what are we changing? What's moving? How are we expanding certain things or contracting certain things? And then we'll go from there, right? So once again, it's not the roadmap, but I will say this update here kind of gets me hyped for what March is going to be for the game. And I would have to imagine that sometime in March, we'll get the roadmap with 2.3 to kind of give us everything that we need to know about where Marvel's Avengers is going this year. And I think from my conversations with CD, what they don't want to do is promise things so far and away ahead of us that they have to kind of make adjustments, right? They want to make sure that whatever they plan for the next, you know, however many months are left in the year, that they deliver on everything in a substantial way that really impacts the game. That's kind of my interpretation of everything they've said behind the scenes. So for me, guys, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, first step to kind of building back the game in a foundational way. What's next after that? And that's what we'll find out probably next month. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think about 2.3. Let me know what you guys think about the February development update. And I'll see you guys next time here on the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day and night. Take care of yourselves. Later, guys.